So it is part 2 of this video. And man, when that guy went around, I remember I went all the way back to the wall. Not the back room, just the wall. And I just, I had my hands up like this, like, like, dude, I'm no threat to you. Whatever you want, you can take. I wasn't speaking, I was just, quiet. I was just quiet, and I was just trying to see what was going to happen. So he hits the register with the, kind of taps the register with the gun, like that. At this point, being that it's the first time I see a gun up close like that as a danger, I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So he told my husband, open the register. He says, no. Oh my God. In my mind, I'm like, really? Are you freaking serious right now? This guy has a gun. But in my mind, I'm not saying a word again. I'm just speaking to myself in my head. It sounds kind of crazy, but, we all do it. So anyways. And then he's like, yo, open the register. And again, he says no. So I, shaking, I'm like, like this toda temblorosa. I go to the register and I open it. I take the key out and I throw it on the display area. And man, my heart was racing. He picks up that little, because I don't know if you guys have ever worked like in a cashier area, or you guys, at the grocery stores, you've noticed when they pick up the little slot at the bottom where all the big bills are supposed to go. Well, this guy picks it up, and there's like a bunch of money. Like a bunch of money. I think he took like at the very least, like $600. At least. There was because every time in that register, there could be no more than three $20 bills in that $20 slot, So our register can look kind of empty, In the bottom, we had the hundreds and we had 50s. The moment we had more than 3 20s, we take out the 20s and put them in the bottom. And man, I forget what I was saying because I had to pause the video for a little bit. But I remember he told, once he saw the money, he told my husband to get on his knees. To get on his knees on the floor. So the register's open. My husband's on his knees. He looks at me. He said, get on the floor. He didn't say get on your knees. He said, get on the floor. So I went on my knees on the floor and I had my hands up, like, dude, like, I'm no threat to you. And I was scared out of my mind. It really was. It may sound like, why were you scared? I didn't grow up in the streets. I had no street knowledge. I didn't know if that gun was empty or not. Or whatever, It's okay to be scared. And it is okay to not know what's going to happen next. Because no one ever knows. No one can predict the future. And at that point, it was my life and my husband's life. It wasn't just my own or his life. It was both of our life. We just got married. And this is what's going on. So after he left, before he left, he took my husband's brand new phone. At that point, he had actually a T-Mobile Sidekick 3, I think it was. And, it was those nice ones, it just, flipped open, and, it was nice. It was pretty big, and it was nice. Yeah, I remember we had the Sonic game on there, and it was pretty cool for me, I like playing Sonic. But anyway, that's another thing. He took it from the charging area where we used to plug up the car chargers to make sure they worked before the customer bought it. He took that. He then asked me for an ID, and I told him, I don't have anything. He asked my husband for his wallet, and he said I didn't have it. Earlier that day, he gave me the wallet because I was going to go next door to buy something. 'Cause, you know, the cell phone store we worked in was in a plaza, and right next door there was 7-Eleven. Sorry again. The mailman just got here and he was like, post office. So, you know, I don't know if you guys got to hear that in the video or not, but anyway. What was I saying? So he took the cell phone and he left. But right before he left, he grabs the gun. Oh, I'm sorry. My husband didn't have the wallet because he gave it to me. I already said that. And gave it to me to buy something, and then I remember I usually put it in the middle of the drawer, you know, or there, you know, where there was no cash, no attention to that drawer. We just put it in the middle of the store in that drawer. We had a special drawer where we put our personal belongings, like our cell phones, keys, and stuff like that. We put it there because we would never put our stuff in the back. We always misplaced it in the back. So the guy checked them. He pocket checked him. He like made him get up off his knees because he was like kind of sitting on his, like, you know, sitting relaxed, you know, on his knees, but he kind of sitting back on his butt. He made him get up, and he had his wallet on his back pocket, you know. So he literally just pulls it out of his butt, and he's like, "Why you lying to me? Why you lying to me, nigga? Why you lying to me?" I'm so sorry for you guys if there's like, I'm so sorry, but that's what the guy said. Okay, I don't mean to offend anyone with that expression, but you know, he said that. And he's like, nah, you know, I didn't have my wallet. He's like, then why are you lying to me? I have it here, no. And then, you know, but he was saying like bad words. I'm gonna say that. And sorry that I said the N word. So he grabs the gun, you know, like, let's pretend this remote was a gun. He grabs it, and with the, this is like a terrible gun expression. Okay, so it was like, okay, this is the gun. I'm sorry. So this is how the gun was, right? Okay, so just pretend. Okay, so the bottom part, like this part, he just literally like was about to hit my husband like in the back like that. So can you imagine? Okay, so the gun part. So he was about to hit him right here, and he was like, "Nah, man, nah, please, no." Like, you know, he was kind of, you know. So the guy, he was about to just whack him, just like hit him really hard, because he just did one of these numbers like that. And at that point, he had already told me to go down, like face down. And he said, nah. And like, since I was looking up, he looks at me and he's like face down. And I was like, oh Lord. I was like, oh Lord, please, no. Like, you know, that's the last thing I want, you know, somebody get hurt. Over money that's not even mine, over anything that's, you know, I don't care for the phone, I don't care for the wallet. We can always like get our cards back, our, you know, IDs, whatever, you name it. But that happened. And he left. Right before he left, he made sure we were scared out of our pants. My husband had to shield me because he said, real quick, blank, real quick, you gonna remember this day. And then he did one of those, you know, on his gun. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if this is a real gun, just to start off. Because, you know, nowadays the BB guns, you know, they're black or they're silver or whatever color they are, and you can think it's a gun and it's really not. So he did that, and I was praying. I was shaking. I was so shaking. Like my body was, you know, shaking. My heart was like racing. I was on an adrenaline rush. Like at that point, I was, oh my goodness, you know, my hand. So my husband shields me with his own body. He goes over, so this is me on the floor, and my husband did this. Okay, this is terrible because maybe I was like, okay. He goes like that over my body to shield me. I'm on the floor, my head's like right here. He's like this. This is his head right here. He's shielding me. And when he said, you're going to remember this day, my husband, he was on his knees like this, looking the whole time. He crawled over me, and he protected me. I could hear him like breathing right over us. You know, I was so scared. I felt he was going to shoot us. And I was like, Lord, please, que ya se vaya, you know, let him, que ya se vaya. That's all I was saying, que ya se vaya, let him go. Oh my goodness. After he left, there was a UPS guy that was delivering something to the 7-Eleven right next door. He walks into the store. He's like, did what I think just happened happen? And I'm like, really? Like, really, dude? Like, in my head, really? You saw that guy take out a weapon and you didn't call 911? Really? So my husband's like, yeah, that happened. I'm in tears, okay? I'm crying hysterically at this point. I'm in no shape or mood. There's just like customers that were coming in right after the UPS guy left. I was like, you know, guys, like, go to another store, come back tomorrow, or maybe don't. We just got robbed, and it was the worst day of my life. I didn't want to be there no more. I wanted to quit. I was scared out of my mind. My husband called the owner because I was in no shape. I wanted to go home already. I didn't want to be there. I remember I called my mom. No, my husband called my mom, and he was telling her, come pick up your daughter. She's in no shape to be here right now to work. And my mom went to pick me up. I remember my grandma was with her at that point, and I think we went to church. I think it was a Wednesday when they do like Wednesday Bible studies at church. And that happened, man. And, you know, everything else that happened afterwards, it's history. But one thing that our boss's daughters were very upset that we had to go through that. They were mad for a very long time. They were afraid that my husband and I were gonna quit because, you know, we just got married. We're trying to, you know, build a family, and they were scared that we were gonna leave because of this incident. I was afraid to be alone at any point. You know, there's times where I had to open the store by myself, and I told him like I wasn't okay with that. I was afraid to be there for 2 hours alone. I didn't feel comfortable. So my husband would go, be in the back room, and be watching the cameras while I was there, and he did that for a very long time. He would not get paid for those 2 hours. He would get paid after those 2 hours. I thank God for his life every day. You know, he's a wonderful husband. Ever since the day he walked into my life, I've always felt protected. I've always felt that, you know, from him. He's a very special guy, and I'm lucky to have him in my life. And this is what happened December 19th, 2009. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you come around more often and stay tuned for my next video. Have a good day. God bless you. Bye.